know more about ThinkorSwim than literally anybody else. I've been using this platform for 9 years. Charles Schwab has only owned it for 5. I've reached out to their support with questions. I've watched their help guides. And I've watched a ton of others' ThinkorSwim YouTube videos. Oh, look, it's me on YouTube. And listen, they're good videos. This isn't me hating, but I've never seen some of the secrets that I know about this platform mentioned in other videos. So today you're going to get the full rundown. Someone with 9 years of experience trading on this platform every single day is going to teach you something, everything he knows. So let's go ahead and get my ugly mug off the screen so that you can focus on the tutorial. Setting up your ThinkorSwim workspace. I'm going to start this video on the assumption that you have already created your account with Charles Schwab and downloaded the ThinkorSwim application. Once you have your login modal popped up, when you click on the ThinkorSwim, this is what will pop up. We are going to immediately jump into the settings cog and change a setting. This memory usage here will by default be set to very small numbers for both the min value and the max value. Now, what this is doing is it's deciding how much random access memory, or RAM, the ThinkorSwim application is allowed to utilize. So what you're going to do is you're going to up this min and max value. And once you are logged in to the ThinkorSwim platform, you're going to open your task manager. You want your ThinkorSwim application to be running and your memory to be around 50 to 60%. You really don't want to get too high on the memory. Machines can start acting choppy and weird if this gets too high, but you want to make sure that the ThinkorSwim application is accessing as much of your memory as possible to make it run as smoothly as possible. I have 32 gigabytes of RAM in my machine. It's not the newest version of RAM. It's not the best RAM sticks, but this is how I have mine set up for 32 gigabytes. You'll have to just sort of tweak it and mess around with it yourself. This is all very low stakes stuff, so feel free to just mess with this and change it as you log in to once again get that memory usage to around 60%. Now, what I'm going to do here, you have two options, live trading and paper money. For this section and this section only, I'm going to go into the paper money section because I have reset that workspace to default so that it'll look exactly like yours. Of course, I don't want to do that within my live trading platform. So the login ID and password are going to be the same that you created when you set up your Charles Schwab account. If we just give the machine here a second to get logged in, you will notice the home screen that pops up. And from there, we are going to begin setting up our ThinkorSwim workspace. Yeah, yippee! I have once again reset this all to default. You will notice I am now in simulated trading. You get this sort of yellow border. It obviously yells at you up here. Of course, feel free to use this simulated trading to practice your trading, to practice how to execute within ThinkorSwim in the future. But for now, we are in the home screen. This is sort of your landing screen dashboard. I don't use any of this. You can set up these widgets however you would like. I don't use any of this stuff. I'm going to hop right into the charts and we are going to begin our chart setup. Actually, first, I almost forgot a very important settings change you need to make. Let's talk about that before we hop into chart setup. If you go to your more global setup, this is your application settings up here in the top right. If you go ahead and click on this, go into the application settings. Under system, ensure that your quote speed is set to real time, no delay. By default, ThinkorSwim and Charles Schwab set this to a moderate max delay of 3 seconds. Now, this is perfectly fine for most people. Most investors don't need to be seeing real-time tick-by-tick data, and this is how Charles Schwab and ThinkorSwim sort of ease the load on their servers, right? But for us that are looking to code and become active traders, we, of course, want the real-time, no delay data. So change that setting and apply it. All right, now let's hop into the chart setup. Before we hop into the chart setup, I need to let you know you are actually watching a video lesson from my course on how to code in ThinkorSwim. There are over 36 chapters in this course, and if you are interested in learning more about how to upgrade your ThinkorSwim and be able to build your own custom studies, scanners, and even trade strategies, check out the course link over on daytradingstrategies.net. It'll be linked in the description of this video down below. Now listen, there is literally millions of different ways you can choose to set up your charts. What I'm going to do in this video is show you how I set up mine, as well as give you a rough overview of how you can tweak things so that you can sort of decide subjectively how you would like your charts to look. The first thing we need to do is, of course, enter a symbol. You do that here in the top left using your keyboard. We will look at SPY. First things first, we are looking at the daily chart. You can change time frames by clicking this drop down. It gives you a predetermined list of favorites, but you can customize this list using this drop down here. What these lists mean, 1D, 1M, means that you are looking at, if I go click on that time frame actually, the entire chart is 1 day. Each bar represents 1 minute. So with this, the entire chart represents 5 days, right? But each bar represents 15 minutes, so on and so forth. And you can customize this list to look however you would like for your favorite time frames. Okay, now let's hop into the settings on the chart and let's start to walk through some of these appearance settings. Want to turn on from this first general section is show trades. This will on your chart, obviously, after you place buy or sell orders, show them, right? Actually, if I hit apply right now, oh yeah, I've messed around in this paper trading making tutorials before. So from there, you can see now where I was placing buy and sell orders. That's what the show trade setting does. You probably want that turned on. Maybe you don't, but I think it's fun and nice to have on. There's just a lot of other kind of show checkboxes in here. I'm not sure why you wouldn't want to see your orders or studies, but maybe if you're doing a little analysis and they're in your way, you can turn that off. If you don't like this high or low bubble, you can turn that off there. All, once again, completely subjective and up to you. Hopping over now to the price area. This is a fun one where you can sort of decide whether you want your studies to fit or not. I actually turn these off. I don't want my charts fitting studies. What that means is if I were to turn on something like the 200 simple moving average, if I were to turn on the 200 simple moving average on this chart, if I had fit studies and like say I was looking at my chart and I wanted to see it like this, I wanted to kind of really zoom in to these last couple of days, it would stretch the chart out so that this study showed, right? And I don't like it to do that, so I actually do uncheck all of those fit boxes on my price axis. Once again, completely subjective. You decide how you want this to look, but obviously some other stuff you can mess around with. Do you want it to have a little bit of up and down expansion so that you have a little bit of room up and down? All up to you. Hopping over to the time axis, and speaking of expansion, this is a setting I definitely do change. I like to give a little bit of breathing space to the right of my chart. I don't like when my last bar sort of slams into the right wall here. So I'm going to go ahead and type in 4 bars to the right. It's actually a little extremely exaggerated because I zoomed in so much. But you see now how I get that little bit of space to the right. I just think it looks a lot cleaner. That's something that I like to have turned on. Once again, feel free to mess with the rest of this stuff. Do you not want to see these lines? Actually, a lot of times I do turn off these lines. Think it just looks cleaner without them. But if you want to see, you know, what year it is or those kind of things, turn it on or off based on what you like. Favorite time frames, we've already talked about how to get to this drop down through the time frames itself. Appearance, obviously, a big one. I have no idea why by default the green candles aren't filled in. It's a really weird, that's like the weirdest default setting within ThinkorSwim to me. I don't know why you wouldn't want them filled in, but of course, fill them in. And then also I like my volume colored as the symbol ticks. So if the candle, is green, the volume bar is green. Obviously, if red, the volume bar is red. I don't really like having this grid in the background. I think it just looks cleaner without it. So I'm also going to uncheck that. And if I hit apply, you will notice immediately how much better, at least I think, once again, the chart looks. You can decide all this stuff yourself. Couple more things you can click through. I mean, do you want to see the volume? You probably do. Do you want to see extended hours? This is actually a big one on equities. So, of course, it won't matter from the daily chart, but if I go into an intraday chart, I'm on the 5-minute chart here, you will notice there are two different colors, right? This dark sort of black color is your market open hours from 9:30 to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right? Then this kind of lighter gray color is after hours from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. is actually a little bit longer because we are looking at an index. Let me go to a normal ticker. From 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. and then from 4 a.m. until 9:30, that is your after hours. And within ThinkorSwim, you can see the trading occurring during those hours, and you can even trade them. We'll talk about that a little bit later, but if you would rather not see that, a lot of times, a lot of the day trading strategies I use, I don't want the indicators calculating based off of the extended hours trading session. So I will have that turned off, and you'll notice how that just disappears. Alrighty, so now we've got our charts looking the way we want to. Very important next step, come into the style drop down here, and you want to save this style. I will save mine as Trey's style. Sure, great. Now, whenever you open another chart, if I hop into my flexible grid here, and we'll talk about flexible grid actually just in the next section, so don't worry if you're confused. But whenever you open a new chart, it kind of goes to that gross default. Now you can just instantly hop into style, load style, Trey's style, and bang, it immediately looks the way you want it to. Just before we hop into the flexible grid, I want to make sure you all know exactly how to get indicators and drawings on your chart. I showcased it a little bit during that first section, but I want to go over it with you all. So I'm going to click on the studies here in the top tab of the chart. And if I go to edit studies, I can select from a list of hundreds of them. And of course, later in this course, you are going to learn how to create your own. But say I want to turn on the RSI, the relative strength index. If I could not misclick, turn on the RSI, you'll notice how this goes down to the lower section. If I hit apply, that is because it appears down here below the chart, whereas of course you want the SMA plotted on the chart. If I turn on something like volume average, that will also immediately plot to the lower, but I can drag it on to the volume itself. And now you can see that volume average line. This indicator has kind of a gross left axis it turns on by default. So I click into the settings of the indicator and turn off that left axis. Now that just cleans that up a little bit. And let's go ahead and turn on another simple moving average just so I can show you once again from the settings. Say we wanted to turn on the 50. And of course, we'd want it to be a different color so that it stands out. We can change the color in that way. That's how that works. Now, for drawings, you can either click on this drawings here, hover over drawing tools, and select, your trend line, your price level, your Fibonacci retracement, whatever you would like to draw. Or from the chart itself, you can press in on your mouse wheel and it'll instantly pop this up, which is really nice. If I click on price level, I just simply have to double click and it gives me a price level line. Mine is all large and purple and dotted because I have gone into my edit properties. I right clicked on the line into edit properties. From here, you can change all this. Say I wanted it to be a white solid line with a width of 2 that always also expands to the left and the right. Say I want it to be like that. If I go ahead and hit OK, it will do that. But if I draw another line, it's going to do this again, right? So if I hop back into the properties of this one, I can save it as the default. Now every price line I draw will be that way. And if I right click on any drawing, clear drawing set, yes, I can easily get rid of everything. And that's really what you need to know. To draw a trend line, you click once, you click again. You can come in and sort of fix all this up. Yes, I want it to extend to the right. I want it to be yellow and thinner. Set it up like that. Save that as the default. So anytime you draw a line, of course, that happens. So the flexible grid. The first thing of importance to talk about here is how ThinkorSwim is laid out. It is not fully modular in that you can drag these charts and put them anywhere, right? It's all sort of like a box. This can all be dragged into different size rectangles, but once again, they cannot be dragged and placed anywhere on the chart. Now, when you first open up your flexible grid, you will see this sort of small box in each one of your charts. This button is to add a chart below. This button all the way to the right is to remove that chart. And then this button here is to add a chart to the right. And you can either have on your sidebar or have it turned off. We'll talk about the sidebar and what that does in just a second. But the way I like to have my flexible grid laid out is I like to have 2 up top and 2 down bottom. I'm going to make it so that it's about 50-50 on the up and down, and then so that the upper left is smaller and the lower right is smaller. Now, let's go ahead and talk about this sidebar. There are multiple different functions that you can have active on a chart. The most important, the ones you really need to know about, are the active trader. This is the application, this section that allows you to place your trades. You can have on your level 2, which I won't lie, the level 2 within ThinkorSwim is not amazing. What a level 2, a full level 2 will do is show you all the bids and asks available at each price. What the level 2 within ThinkorSwim is doing is just showing you the largest bid and ask from whichever exchange it is at that price. So not all that useful, but possible to have on. There is this news here that will show you any news specifically for the column that you, for the ticker that you have typed in. And then you can also come up here and go to this time and sales, which will show you orders either hitting the bid or the ask in real time. Now, what I'm going to do, so I guess the first thing I have to do is populate all these charts. I'll just type in MU in all of them for right now. The way I'm going to have mine set up, I like this top left chart to be the daily. This gives me my large overview picture of what I'm looking at on the chart, of what the chart has been doing lately, of what the daily trend of the chart I'm looking at is. I like to make this chart my 5-minute, and then I like to make this chart my 1-minute. If you can't tell, if I haven't explained it already, this is sort of my more day trading type setup, right? This is where I have my setups for when I want to analyze multiple time frames at the same time. Now, what I do with this bottom right chart is I turn off the chart completely. This is where I have my active trader. So you can do that as well, right? I don't want to see the chart at all down here. I just want to see the active trader so that I can see my daily sort of trend, look at a slightly larger time frame here, and then get my most micro analysis on the 1-minute before I place my trades here. Now, first thing to change, what do we talk about with this chart? Let's go ahead and load in our style on both of these charts as well. If I load style, oh, it does take it back to the saved time frame as well. So let's go back to our 5 in our 1-minute. Now, the next important thing I want to talk about is this link functionality. I'm going to link these all to the same link, this red one here. That's going to make it so that whenever I change the symbol, say I want to look at NVIDIA instead, it changes all the charts to NVIDIA and, of course, the active trade window. Also, I don't like to have my sidebars turned on once I'm all set up. Don't really need to see them anymore. This gives you a little bit more room and a little bit more cleanliness on the charts. Then I'm going to come to this multi-grid up here, and I'm going to turn off the customized grid to get rid of those boxes. And now my flexible grid is set up and I'm ready to trade. Now let's talk trade execution. And in talking trade execution, we need to talk active trader window. These are all of your default buttons. You can expand this little arrow here down to see your second line. You're by default set up with buy market and sell market. If you would rather have a limit orders, which I know a lot of people do, or if there's other buttons you'd like to add or remove from this, you're going to click on this cog here within the active trader. Say I want to get rid of buy and sell market. I simply double clicked on them. It moved them back over here. I instead want to be buying the bid and selling the ask. That's how I would want to trade. I want to use those sort of limit orders in my trading. So I'm going to add them. By default, they're added to the end. They can be grabbed and dragged to wherever you would like them to be. If I hit OK, you will now notice buy bid, sell ask on the chart. This button here is cancel. If you click that button, it's going to give you a drop down of what you would like to cancel. I'll tell you what I do. I instead replace that with the cancel all button. That's the oh shit, my computer started lagging a little bit. I need to just cancel all my open orders. Bang, you can click that button and get that done. Reverse, don't need. Flatten, I also leave on. Flatten is also sort of the oh shit button, but when you're in a trade. What flatten does is it will market exit any position you're in, close all open orders. So that's also another good button to have on in case something sort of hits the fan, right? Next, we can hop down to the second line and begin to look at these buttons. Of course, you want your quantity with buttons turned on. Now, while this section isn't fully customizable, you can hop into your setup application settings again and set up some order defaults. So if you'd rather the default order be 100 instead of 150, and then you'd rather your increment be by 10 instead of 100, if I go ahead and hit apply now, you will see this is set up at 100. And I'm not exactly sure what the order increment means. Like, why is it 100, 300, 500 when I set it up as 10? Honestly, don't ask me, but you can come in and you can mess around with those settings to sort of find what works best for you. Next, we're going to come down to this order template selector, which is important if you want to set different order types. If you're just going to buy and sell, you really will never change this from single, but you can set up OCO orders, which will set up multiple orders, and when one fills, all others will cancel. That's what OCO means. And then these targets with brackets allow you to set up, I can set up a buy with a profit target and a stop loss based off of either value, ticks, or percentages. And you know what? Let me just go ahead and hit buy and show you what that looks like. So I'm trying to buy 100 shares at the bid here on NVIDIA right now. Oh, look, I got filled. Yay. Now I have my stop and my profit target both set up because I placed a target with brackets trade. I believe I set them both up as a 1% up and 1% down, but, and this is maybe skipping forward ahead a little bit into the order execution, but I'll give you a little preview of what's coming up in the next section. These can just be dragged. So say I'd want to get stopped out if NVIDIA breaks below this low, great. I'd want to sell if NVIDIA breaks above that high, great. So that's your order template button, and that is, once again, a little sneak peek to order execution within ThinkorSwim. Oh, you know what? Let me show you this too. Hey, I've got this order open. Oh my God, the lightning just hit, my internet's starting to flicker, my router's starting to go out. If I hit flatten, you will notice, oh, I'm getting a pop-up. This will cancel all orders. Wait a second. If I turn on auto send and hit flatten, I just learned something in making my own course. You have to have auto send turned on if you don't want your flatten popping up a little confirmation box. Look at that. That was fun. Also, okay, you know what? Let's use all of this. Screw it. We'll do it live. The next thing I was going to talk about is auto send anyway. Did you all notice how when I was placing those trades, I got that little order confirmation box to pop up? If you are actively trading, especially a 1 minute chart, if you're going to be doing this kind of trading, you probably don't want an order confirmation box, an extra 2-3 clicks when you're trying to take a trade. So have the auto send button turned on once again within your active trader settings. And now when I hit buy, the trade will automatically attempt to go through. While an order is out, you can hit this X on the order itself to cancel, or you can hit this cancel button to cancel the open order. And I went ahead and got filled on another trade when trying to make that suggestion. So now you'll get to see an example of me hitting sell ask. We'll see if I get filled there. We do, and it auto sent once again because of this checkbox. All right, so this final sort of button change I'm going to make from within the settings on my active trader is I'm going to add a button called TIF. What this stands for is time and force. And if you are placing regular trades during market hours, time and force set today is perfectly fine. If you are placing a swing trade order, say I want to buy Nvidia if it sells at 118, that's where I want to buy. You would want to set that up as a GTC if you would like that order to remain open until you cancel it. GTC stands for good till canceled. If you place that order with a daily time and force, it would simply cancel at the end of the trading day. So if you want an order like that to remain open, you place it as a GTC. And as we talked about earlier in this chapter with after hours trading, remember when I showed you the after hours chart? If I go back into my settings here quickly and just turn this on for you, this section of trading, you can place trades. ThinkorSwim is open from 4 p.m. until 8 p.m., so the entire after hours, and then it opens trading in the morning at 7 a.m. So you won't get the entire pre-market because pre-market opens at 4 a.m., but ThinkorSwim trading starts at 7 a.m. So if you would like to trade either after hours or pre-market, your time and force needs to be set to extended. And another tip with that, we've already got ours set up this way, but if you are going to be trading extended hours, you must be trading limit orders. There are no market orders allowed during after hours trading. Now, let's talk this lower section of the active trade window. Of course, you got to sort of see this section in action. This represents the number of shares you've bought and sold today. This would represent your position once one was currently open. I'll just go ahead and buy some more so you can see here. Of course, this is paper trading. Who cares? If I can get filled, please. This will represent the position that I am in. Let me just move this up. This will represent the position that I'm in if I go ahead and get filled. Thank you very much. This will represent the position I'm in. I'm in 100 shares at $123.69. This is my current P&L of the trade I am in. And then this is the P&L on the day on just this ticker alone, though. This is how much I am up or down on all the trades I have taken on it today. You'll notice as I go to sell this trade, all of these will hop back to blank. This will go to 300 by 300. And look at me go. I'm up $11 in my paper trading account. If we go down to the lower section, this is called your trade ladder. All of these are resizable on a larger stock like this. It looks like you need to resize it so you can actually see the price. And what this is representing, of course, obviously, the current price that the underlying ticker is currently trading at, and then the bids and the asks at the local price. So you won't see like a full bid and ask depth on this chart, but you can see the current bids and asks around the price we are currently trading at. Now, you can also execute orders directly from within this window. Say, I would want to buy if NVIDIA drops down to the low 123s. Call it 123.2. I'd want to buy 100 shares. Here from within the bid size, if I simply click and it will buy whatever quantity I have typed in here. If I simply click, once again, because my auto send is turned on, it automatically throws that trade out at 123.20. As I showed you earlier, if I change my mind, hey, I want to buy a little bit lower actually, because that's down where that is, I can go ahead and just drag and drop the order once it's on the chart as well. Or of course, I can cancel the order. Also, you can use this to place buy stop orders. Hey, I want to buy NVIDIA if it breaks over 124. I can go up here and I can put an order at 124. Oh, I'm still on extended. Sorry. It let me place the limit order, but not a buy stop order, because a buy stop order, of course, is a market order type, and you can't place those under the extended time and force as I aforementioned. Look at that segue to example. If I hit an order buy at 124.01, this is now a stop order, as you see represented by the STP. Now, this will only execute if NVIDIA breaks through, or at least touches and fills my order, at 124.01. Next, let's go ahead and get into a trade so that I can show you how to do something similar with stop loss orders. Hey, I just got long at 123.52. I want to get stopped out if we break below 123. I simply click now, of course, on the ask size, as I am selling, not buying. I will get stopped out at 122.99. And of course, to wrap up this section, put it all together, I changed my mind. Let me just get out of the trade, hit flatten, finish the day up $8 whole. Let's go. From here, hey, I made $8 today. We can go ahead and click on the monitor window, and we can see, looking at the filled orders here, all the trades we took today, of course, in our simulated trading account. If you had any open orders, let me actually go put one so you could see. If we have open orders, they show here under the working order section. And then if we go ahead and cancel this order, that will show up. Go away, please. That will show up along with all the others under this canceled orders section here. But really, and most importantly, this is how you keep track of your total P&L on the day if you were to be trading multiple different tickers, because remember, this P&L on the day is only representative. If I change to a different stock, it's only representative of the ticker you're looking at. Whereas if we now take a trade on Tesla as well, if I can get filled here, drag this up. I don't even know if I showed that functionality, by the way. So sort of some real-time extra functionality. You can drag your orders straight from the trade ladder as well. If I were to take a trade on Tesla here, make $3 whole, I can now go back to my monitor window, see both of these trades, see their total together equals $11 up. Another cool functionality and something I actually do take advantage of that I want to show is this button here from your monitor window. This is a detach button. If I click on this, it opens a whole new tab. So I trade with 3 monitors. So the way I normally trade is that I have my monitor window detached and over here on my left monitor, so that while I'm trading on my main screen all day, I can see my total P&L. This sort of detach functionality, I don't know exactly everywhere that it can be used here on scanners as well. I believe you can detach charts as well. Yes, so that is a way that you can open up new ThinkorSwim windows so that you can sort of make it more modular, drag them around, put them on different monitors, set up your screen a little bit more customized. So I just clicked on the scanner tab, so let's go ahead and hop into this section next. Now, there is an entire chapter down the road in this course on full scanner customization, event coding, custom study, filter conditions for scanners. So we're not going to dive too deep into scanners right now, as that will come later in this course, but I just want to make sure during this ThinkorSwim tutorial section, you at least know how they work and their basic setup functionality. So I'm going to clear all of the default filters just so we can go ahead and add some of our own. If I add a stock filter, I want to look at stocks. You get a full drop down here that you can come in and explore yourself. I want to look at stocks that are between $1 and $5. That is the price range that I would like to trade. I can add another stock filter. They must be trading at least 250,000 shares of volume. And then I can add another stock filter where the market cap must be no bigger than 50 million. If I type in 123, no bigger than 50 million on the market cap. If I ran this scanner, I'd of course be returned a list of 284 stocks. Your columns here are also customizable. There is a very tiny little cog here you can click on and customize. And just like the active trade window buttons we sort of went through, there is a ton of different columns that you can set up and add and customize. And once again, these are all draggable. If you want to get rid of something, you simply double click on it, move something up, move something down. That is how this whole thing is customizable. Once again, not going to do too much with it right now. Just want you to know it is. And of course, you can sort your results by header. I typically, on almost all of my scanners, sort top down by volume. Now, say I want to save this scan query as my low price. I'm just going to call it low price. I don't know what else to call it. I've gone ahead and saved that. Now, this sort of left-hand drawer has been open over here during this entire tutorial. First off, you can click on this arrow and close this. It gives you more realty, more chart space. This is normally how I trade unless I am actively watching a watch list, for lack of a better term. So I'm going to collapse the Trader TV for right now, collapse the live news, and collapse the quick chart. You can, of course, also delete these gadgets if you do not want to look at them. You all can't see it in the way I have my screen laid out. I'm sorry. Can I fix that really quick, actually? Some live editing here. Look at that. If I hover over this little plus down here, you can add widgets. So if I wanted to add multiple different watch lists, I can do that. Obviously, of course, all kinds of other stuff you can mess with here. A little bit subjective. Add and set it up how you want. But the point I'm trying to get at now, what did I call that? Did I call it slow price? I think I called it. If I go into my personal, I can hover over low price. I can see the results that are popping up from the scanner we just created. I can once again customize the columns from within this little scanner watch list on the left-hand side as well. So if I add the volume and once again sort top down by volume, that is fantastic. And look, there is also a link functionality here. So remember how we linked all of these charts together earlier to red? Now, if I also link this scan on the left to red, as I click through these stocks, they will auto-populate into these charts that have the same link number and color. So now, from my flexible grid, from my intraday trading kind of analysis and active trade window, I can be clicking through stocks appearing on a watch list, looking for trade opportunities. Back on my daily large chart here, looking at Apple. Say I would like to know if Apple breaks below 210 on its daily chart, because I might consider buying it below that level. I can right click at about that price and hit create alert. That will try to create an alert at exactly the price I right clicked. I, of course, could fine tune that if I want it to be exactly 210. You can then choose either at or above or at or below when the price hits. I will be alerted. Of course, I want it below 210, so I'm going to go ahead and create that alert. Now, whenever that happens, I'm going to both get a little pop-up in the top left here and also a message in my messages folder so that I will know, hey, Apple has broke below 210. If I hop into my Market Watch tab here and go to alerts, I can also see all of my open alerts. And one more thing, if I right click this and go to alert notifications, you can set it up to make a noise when it goes off, and to send you an email and a push notification to your mobile device, which you set up, of course, through your Charles Schwab brokerage. So if you would like more, alerts when, Apple does break below 210, set up your notifications in that way through the Market Watch tab. Say I want to be alerted instead if Apple closes below the 200 simple moving average, which I have plotted on this chart. I'm going to once again right-click Alert, but now I'm going to go to Study and Edit. And if I hop into the edit here again, I want to be alerted if the closing price is less than if I go to study, as the moving average is a study, if I look up simple moving average with a length set equal to 200, I will now be alerted if Apple closes less than the 200 simple moving average. I can go ahead and create that alert, hop back into my Market Watch alerts tab, and you will see that alert is also open, currently false. I will be triggered with the email and with the push notification once that does become true. This scanner that we just created, this low price scanner, I can left click on this name of the scanner from my left-hand drawer, and I can be alerted when a symbol is either added or removed or both. I want to be alerted when a symbol is added in my low price scan. If I go ahead and create that, of course, I just made the scanner today, so it's giving me all the stocks that have been added to it today. But if I hop into my Market Watch tab, this one will remain active until I cancel it. So now anytime a ticker is added to this low price scanner, I will be alerted. If I want to cancel this or any of my other alerts, I can do it from within my Market Watch alerts tab just by clicking on that little cancel there, or I can turn it back on by hitting that little refresh action there. If you think that stuff's cool, there's about 100 other ways you can set up alerts within ThinkorSwim, but we have a whole alert section coming up later in this course, so you'll just have to keep pushing, and we'll get into some of that more advanced stuff down the road. And I just want to show you this section. We're not going to talk about it too much really in this course at all, but this is where you can trade options from within ThinkorSwim. Under the Trade tab, under All Products, type in whichever ticker you would like to look at the options chain for here. Then, of course, this is your options chain. Any of these can be, of course, expanded. You can see as many strikes as you would like to. You can actually type in anything here. You can change your layout view if you want to see the value of the Greeks, of the underlying, etc., etc. I just want you, for the purpose of this video in this section, to want to know how to access the options chain within ThinkorSwim. Thank you for watching. If you made it to this point in the video, you are obviously very interested in ThinkorSwim, so why not take it to the next level by learning how to create your own custom strategies, studies, and even trade scanners by buying the course. Even if you have literally never seen a line of code before, this course will take you from that level of understanding to being able to create anything within ThinkorSwim. And yes, it costs $350. Guys, I spent like 3 months making this course. There's a ton of information in there. I have to charge something, but think about it. If you think, and I'm not allowed to answer this question for you legally, my lawyers told me, but if you personally can answer the question, is knowing how to code in ThinkorSwim going to help you win just a couple of more trades in your trading career, then this will end up being nothing but positive ROI for you past $350 in profit. So head on over to daytradingstrategies.net. Once again, linked in the description down below. Go click course. Consider signing up today. Of course, if you don't want the course, if you don't want to learn how to code yourself, I also have all of my published available codes available over on the website for much cheaper than $350. So it's sort of the would you rather learn to fish or would you rather just have the fish kind of thing? Both options are available to you. Hey, hit like if you learned something, subscribe if you would like to continue learning. With all that being said, I'll catch you all in the next one.